recording. But before we get started, like I was saying, we also always acknowledge the lands that we are on. So Royal Roads University is located on the traditional lands of the Kosepsum and the Lekwungen ancestors and families who've lived here for thousands of years. So we're really grateful to be able to be on the lands that we get to work on each and every day. I'm also working from home right now in the traditional lands of the Kwetsun peoples. So again, just want to take this moment to acknowledge where we're coming in from, no matter where we're located in the world right now. So today we're going to be talking about the Master of Arts and Graduate Certificate in Tourism Management. So my name is Christy Jones and I'm an education specialist here at the university, but I'm joined by a group of wonderful folks today. So we have Dr. Rebecca Wilson-Mah, who is the program head for these programs. And then we also have a few other guests who are going to be joining us a little bit later on in the presentation. So we have Dr. Milton Almeida, he is an associate faculty. And then we're also going to have a few of our wonderful students joining. So we'll have Mridul Dobhal, Javashi, and Alyssa Piva. So looking forward to their introductions once we get a little further into the presentation. And then we also have a few folks helping us out on the back end, behind the scenes today. So we have Emira Angus, who is going to be helping out with any tech challenges that you may be having today. She already helped me out with hitting the record button earlier on. So if you run into any issues, you're welcome to send her a message and she can help you out there. And we also have Rhonda White from our enrollment team. She is helping us in the chat box with answering any questions that you may have as well. And Anne Catherine McLean, who will be joining us as well. She is a program associate for this program. So lots of help behind the scenes today. So to go through our agenda really quickly, we will start off with a brief overview of the Royal Roads University experience, what it's like to be a student with us. Then we'll do an overview of the MATM program itself. After that, we will hear from our guests, which I'm very excited about, and then we'll finish off with the application process and requirements. But you are welcome to leave any questions that you may have throughout the whole presentation, and we will get to them as we go whenever we're able to do that. So we want to make this a very informal process where you can ask as many questions as you want, and there's a good chance that if you're thinking of a question, somebody else has the exact same one too. So please don't be shy with that. Alrighty, so if you have not been to our campus before, here is a little snapshot of what it looks like. So on the top left-hand corner, we have Hatley Castle. It is a focal point, kind of a hub in the center of our campus that is quite beautiful to check out. It was built in the early 1900s by the Dunsmuir family. And today it's used for many different purposes. It's a building that houses some of our staff right now who are working. And it's also used for things like film projects. So you may recognize it from a few films that you've seen, as well as events and things like that. On the top right-hand corner, we have the Japanese gardens. So kind of right adjacent to the castle, we have a whole network of interconnected gardens that you can explore. So the Japanese gardens is just one of them, but we also have the rose gardens. We have a croquet lawn. We have the Italian gardens. So these are really amazing and tranquil places to go and take a walk if you're on a study break or anything like that, and let what you're learning kind of absorb in your head. On the bottom left-hand corner there, we have a picture of one of our newer buildings, the inside of it at least. That is the Sherman Gen building, and you may have some classes in here. So yeah, this is a really beautiful spot for you to, again, have some study time outside of your class. There's lots of open spaces for you to do your homework, meet with your teams and do your group projects and things like that. I should mention that I also am an alumni of Royal Roads from a different program, but I had a lot of my classes in my residency in this building as well. And it's really, really awesome and a wonderful learning environment. So yeah, that's definitely a great spot to visit while you're on campus. And then we also have the bottom right-hand corner showing the fact that we've been doing online learning for over 25 years. So of course, due to COVID-19 and such, many of our programs were online for a period of time and are transitioning back to being on campus, which is exciting, but online learning is something that we are very well versed in and have been able to do for a very long time. So no matter if you're taking more online courses throughout this program or choosing the on-campus version, this is something that will create a wonderful learning experience in both circumstances. So we are also an Ashoka U Changemaker campus. So this is a designation that's been given to a select number of institutions, and we're very proud of it. It means that the type of education that we provide is very entrepreneurial, it's very solutions oriented, and it's really geared towards the type of learning that we provide that sets people up to really go out into the world and solve today's big challenges or to help address them in their workplaces. So it's something that we really infuse into all of the courses that we offer here at Royal Roads. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Rebecca to take us through the program overview.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to talk about the MATM with you today. My name is Rebecca Wilson-Mah, and I'm calling in from the ancestral lands of the Lekwungen ancestors and families. And you know, it's certainly with gratitude that that I live on these lands here in Victoria. So let's take a look at the MATM. Thank you for joining me today to learn more about this program. I recognize you have different options for your graduate studies, and we're really thrilled that you're considering Royal Roads. So we have three program, with our program option, we have three options with our MATM. So you'll notice on this diagram here, we've got the first bubble speaks to our on-campus program. So because this is the biggest part of our MATM, we have three entry points to our on-campus program. As it notes here, we also do have online options within that on-campus program. So I just want to mention that if you're taking an on-campus program, you will also have lots of options and some courses that are online as well. We also have a blended option. So this option is predominantly online, and it also includes 2 residencies. And then we also have an option for students to join us for a graduate certificate and take three courses first. And then there's pathways to the blended or the on-campus programs through the graduate certificate. So as I mentioned, we've got 3 annual intakes for our on-campus MA, April, August, and December. When we say April, for example, that's when we offer our online orientation, and then the program starts in May. So the month you see here is the orientation month, and then the full program starts the following month. You can finish your MATM in 18 to 20 months, but we don't have any, requirements around that. You can take longer. We have field study components. Of course, those have been suspended during COVID, but they will be reintroducing them as soon as it's safe to do so. We have 3 completion options. So when I'm talking about completion options, we have core courses and electives, and then there's 3 pathways at the end of your program to complete your graduate degree, and they relate to research. So you can opt to complete a thesis. You can opt to complete a large research project. We call that the major research project. And you can also elect to complete your degree by taking courses. So we call this the course completion. And one of the courses, typically a course you take at the very end, is our capstone course. So we call that the capstone, but that's essentially the course completion. Within our MATM, we also have 3 specializations that you can pursue, and I'll talk about those in a moment. So let's take a look at the blended program. So our blended, as I mentioned, is predominantly online, and we have a couple of residencies. The residencies are a wonderful time for our students to come to campus and to get to know each other on the campus grounds. Students often report that they feel very connected to the university because they've had this experience to actually be here on the campus and just to experience it fully. If you take this option, you'll be finished in approximately 26 months. As noted before, we have field schools, both locally and internationally. Our completion options are available for you if you take the blended program. And as I mentioned, those 3 completion options you heard about previously, thesis, MRP, or capstone. And we have our specializations in this program too. So let's take a look at the program schedule. So if you look at this table here on the left-hand side, we've got tourism core courses, and those are listed on the left. And today we'll be learning a little bit more about the strategic planning for tourism course, because that's the course that Dr. Milton Almeida will speak to, and our students will speak to. We also have tourism elective courses, and those are on the right-hand side. And we also have other elective options that are available outside of the school, and students typically take 1 or 2 electives outside of the school. So that's a really nice opportunity to tailor your program to your interests as well. So let's take another look at these completion options. Do you see on this diagram here on the left-hand side, we've got thesis, major research project, and capstone courses. Well, capstone course completion. So if we look at the thesis, what's important to know is that's a 12 credit option. And you will take in your final part of your program, if you opt to take the thesis, you will devote 12 whole credits to that thesis, and you will take 2 additional elective courses. Our major research project is worth slightly fewer credits, coming in at 9. And so you take 3 additional elective courses. And our capstone, the capstone course itself is worth 3 credits. And so you take additional 5 elective courses. So that's, well, for a total of 5 elective courses. So that's how these options look with respect to their credit assignment. So let's take a look at our students' research. I thought it would be interesting for you to see some of the titles of the either thesis or major research projects that our students have undertaken recently. And I just actually yesterday, we had an online conference for our major research project students, and I listened to a presentation about single parent families who travel. That's the second bullet point on this slide. So single parent families who travel, exploring opportunities and barriers of an underserved market. Really interesting study. And Julie is the name of the person that did this project, and she really found that there wasn't any research on this, and that the single parent families were certainly a really underserved market. And she conducted her study using the survey method. So yeah, a very, very interesting project. So take a look at these titles, and gives you a little bit of an overview of I think the scope of the projects. And I think one thing I want to share here is that students often follow a real passion that they have. It's something that they really want to dig into and research and become more of an expert in. And so, for example, the grizzly bear viewing versus the trophy hunt, critical success factors for the end of the trophy hunt. The person that did that project is actually from a few years ago, and she has lobbied to protect grizzly bears in British Columbia. So you see with these projects, passion projects, people are often activists in these areas. They want to show leadership. They want to, they're a key stakeholder in the issue that they're researching. So yes, a real interesting and broad range of student research that we're really very proud of. So let's take a look at the specializations that I mentioned. So we define a specialization of consisting of essentially a specialization is 2 courses that you focus on, and then to specialize, in addition to 2 courses that you take, you also devote your major research project or your thesis to a related aspect of the specialization. So it gives you a chance to, again, have a special focus within your MATM studies. And one thing to note, that on graduation, you do receive recognition of your specialization on your transcript. So let's take a look at these specializations. So at present, we have 3 specializations. The first one is sustainability. The second one is social entrepreneurship. And the third one is disaster and emergency management. And on the right-hand side, you'll see the bullets. And these bullets are the titles of the different courses you can take that essentially set you up for your specialization. So you can see those courses on the right. You'll notice that sustainable tourism management in the sustainability side there, that's a elective course in the MATM. All the other courses that you note here are from schools at Royal Roads that specialize in these areas. So disaster and emergency management, we have a school that specializes in that area, and your courses reside in that school. And now to the graduate certificate. So we want to make sure that we're offering choice and accessibility to anyone who wants to really focus on particular areas of tourism management. Perhaps you haven't decided that you want to do the MA. Perhaps you're interested and want to kind of dip your toe in and see if the MA is right for you. Perhaps you have decided, no, you're not interested in completing an MA, but you're really interested in taking 2 or 3 courses to upgrade and really advance yourself. And so the graduate certificate is a great pathway. We have 3 annual entries, April, August, and December. You get to customize your program to a large degree. So you choose any 3 of our courses. And the options to complete these courses, you can do them completely at a distance. So you can take 3 online courses. You can take them completely on campus. So select 3 on-campus courses. Or what tends to happen is that you can blend the two deliveries. And as I mentioned, this graduate certificate ladders into the MATM, but it also ladders into the MBA and also to the MAIS. So that's, help me out here. I'm drawing a blank, everyone. What's the full name of that degree?
Master of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies.
Thank you. Master of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies. Thank you. So I'd like to talk a little bit about our faculty. So we have a wonderful group of associate faculty that bring to you, to the classroom, just a wealth of experience and teaching expertise and research expertise. And it's just my honor to work with them all. They're just a fabulous group. And so these are some photographs of some of those individuals. Some of them are core faculty in our school. So we see Dr. Brian White is on the top here, the gentleman in the tie. On the bottom right-hand side, we have Moira McDonald, who's my colleague in the school. And on the left-hand side, we've got Dr. Eugene Tomlinson, and he is actually the director of the School of Tourism and Hospitality Management. And then we have Val Cortez. I'll just speak to a couple of instructors that are starting to teach this semester. We have Val Cortez in the red sweater, and Giovanni Malcolm next to her with a big smile. And those 2 associate faculty members will be teaching our tourism leadership course in the next month. And yeah, so just to give you an idea of who teaches, all of these instructors have most of them have got their PhD. Some of them have got their graduate degrees. They all have extensive experience in the industry and in their fields, their disciplines, should I say. Thank you.
Alrighty, so I believe that is the last slide we have until we will bring them back up at the very end to go over the application details. So I will stop sharing my screen now, and I believe we have all of our guests here to start that portion.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. Okay, so everyone, what we're going to do at this next stage is that we really would like to give you an opportunity to hear from our associate faculty and from our current students. And so I'm going to moderate a conversation with Dr. Milton Almeida, who had just finished teaching strategic planning for tourism and hospitality. And I've invited, and thank you so much to our students as well, I've invited 3 students to join us today, Maud, Mridul, and Alyssa, who recently completed this course. So I thought, well, let's have a conversation about the course, and you can kind of learn by listening in. I do encourage you to our guests, if you have any questions as you're listening to the conversation, please do go ahead and enter them in the chat. And we'll swing back to those questions later on and as the conversation develops. So thank you very much. So let's start with just a quick round robin with our guests here. So Milton, Maud, Mridul, Alyssa, welcome. Milton, over to you first as our associate faculty member. Can you tell us a little bit about, your connection with Royal Roads? What kind of, why did you want to join us and teach with us?
Well, thank you for inviting me. And so great to be here, and just it is so terrific to see Alyssa and Maud and Mridul and everyone else here. I've only seen them online, so it's so good to see you again. It seems like forever. I was thinking on my way to Salt Spring, where I live, and on the ferry today, and what was my connection with Royal Roads? And it pretty much started in a session like this about. I'm going to date myself about 15 years ago. I was working in hospitality with Hilton and all sorts of different chains and independents. And I wanted to pursue a career in a different direction. I wanted to give back to an industry that I love and to support people within it. So I went hunting for a master's program and fell on Royal Roads and loved my experience. Took my master's in leadership and training. I pursued an incredible career as a consultant and trainer that kind of springboarded me into my second career. Yeah, it was my second career, and loved how, the whole teaching experience at Royal Roads and really geared to professionals who are already working in this industry and want to sharpen their competencies and skills. And I'm sure our students will share more about that. So yeah, completed my master's, went on to my second career, and then, needed more. So I went and completed my doctorate in social sciences at Royal Roads. And now I have the privilege of teaching at Royal Roads. So I teach an undergrad program, and now I teach in the master's program. And one of the courses is these strategic planning for hospitality and tourism. So yeah, lifelong learning, and certainly a big Royal Roads advocate.
Thank you, Milton. Welcome. And I'm going to turn over to our other guests and ask each of you, and I'm just going through my list. I'm going to start with Maud. And hello, Maud. How are you?
Hi, good morning. Happy to be here.
Good morning. So question for you and Mridul and Alyssa, same question. What helped you decide? Because I think this is interesting for our guests on the call here that are just starting to learn about the MATM. What helped you decide to pursue your MATM? What were you looking for?
First of all, the thing is that I was in the tourism industry back in Iran for about 9 years, and this was very. I always felt that a little bit of lack of academic knowledge, and I wanted to pursue my. It was always my dream, so I wanted to pursue that, and that's why I had a look in a couple of universities in Canada and Australia, and I decided that Victoria might be the best city. However, I didn't know this much about the city that I know right now, but I'm totally satisfied with the decision that I made. And I can see two Iranian students listening to the, I mean, like in this presentation right now here as well, and I can tell them that these people are really the best. They help you, and their experience and sophisticated in tourism. With you, Rebecca, it was a great class, great experience. Dr. Milton, you always helped me even after our class. That was very rich in terms of learning a lot of materials in tourism. But even after our class, when I wanted to decide on some big important, I mean, like decisions in tourism, I consulted Dr. Milton, and thank you for that. You are all great, and this is a great experience because it helps you to open your eyes to a lot of new experiences, new things that is happening around the world, and this has been a great experience.
Thank you so much, Maud, and it's been a pleasure to get to know you along this journey as well.
You're welcome.
And I'd like to invite Mridul to the same question. Mridul, what were you looking for, and why did you decide to pursue your graduate studies with us?
Good morning, Rebecca. Can you hear me?
I can hear you a little bit. If you can be a little louder, that would help.
Sure. Sorry about that.
Oh, perfect. That's louder. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and good morning, everyone. Good evening, wherever you may be. The reason why I joined this course was because basically I was born and raised in a family which, so my parents own a resort, and I've seen them operate the business. However, for me to take it to the next level, it was important to pursue a course which gives me the opportunity to learn the insides of the trade. And that was the reason for me to join MATM. I honestly love this course. I love the faculty, my batchmates. The main reason is that instead of following the trends which are done, like, which were 10 years before they were over with, we are focusing on the latest trends, and all the professors, they kind of give us a practical hands-on experience. So I was told a lot of things which I had no idea about. For example, customers' perspective and research methodology, understanding how the strategies operate. So basically, it's not only just about being a student. The course kind of allows us to be a leader. Obviously, there are baby steps, and there's a particular way, and there's a certain way that we are groomed, but our faculties and our batchmates are always there to help us. That includes everyone, the library, the resources, even our office administrators. Everyone has been really supportive. Dr. Milton, a great professor, lovely debates with him. I still remember even Rebecca helped me out a lot with my research. And since I was from a science background, I had no idea of how research actually works. Research in tourism works, but there was a lot of hand-holding initially, and then they kind of groom you to become this person who can, after a while, you can be in charge. And now I have the opportunity to handle a small team. So I'm extremely grateful, and I'm really excited.
Thank you so much, Mridul. It was really interesting to learn about your family business as well. And that's sometimes an inspiration for students to join us, that they're part of a family business, and they want to contribute to that and perhaps take it over and continue it, and really be prepared for that. I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to invite Alyssa to join us. Hello, Alyssa. Nice to see you.
Hello. Nice to see you too. It's been a minute. For me, I've always wanted my master's. That was always something that I knew I was going to do, even before I was finished my undergrad. However, when it actually came time to picking a master's program, it was very difficult for me. I had various options, everything from an MBA to, of course, the Master's of Arts in Tourism Management from you folks. And it was very hard deciding, but I think what it came down to for me was the flexibility and the opportunities that Royal Roads has, as well as, looking at all the different core classes and just being so enthusiastic and excited about each and every one of them. From there, that made my decision very easy because with the other programs that I was looking at, I couldn't say the same thing. And I reflect on this actually a lot, that I'm just so grateful and happy that I chose this program. I know of a lot of people in my life who have actually went to Royal Roads as well, and they've had such great experiences, and I'm just really happy that I can say the same.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. And Alyssa, are you in the blended program? I believe, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, just wanted to confirm that. So Alyssa's in the blended program, so predominantly on online courses, and then Maud and Mridul. Well, typically you would be on campus. I mean, it's kind of been an online experience for everyone pretty much, right? Of course, for the last 18 months. And just an aside, we had our first on-campus course yesterday. We started on campus yesterday with the first class, which was just a magical moment. I should send everyone a photograph. It was great. So let's thank you so much. Let's turn to back to you, Milton, for a moment. And can you share with us a little bit about how your background and professional experience kind of contributed to your teaching approach? So we've had some comments about your teaching. You've talked about your teaching, but how does this inform who you are as a teacher, and how you approach your classes?
Yeah, I think sort of, for some statements of what I believe about learning and teaching, right? And these I've gleaned from my, from my work experiences, and they've been formed and fashioned certainly by my Royal Roads experiences. Is that, my teaching is really grounded in principles of adult learning, right? So that adults, we learn differently, and certainly at a master's level, we need to be cognizant of that. And that learning is collaborative instructions, right? We're making this meaning, we're learning together. I often tell my students that I learn as much as they do, right? So we work, and the point and the objective of my class is that we learn together, that there's this really wonderful collaboration. And I want to provide students skills to make sense of the world. I think, when we talk about some of those big systemic issues in hospitality and tourism, certainly that have come to the surface during COVID-19, some of the HR issues, what are some of those skills that we can understand and provide solutions in this wonderful industry? And I want to provide students an opportunity to really increase their reflective practice. In other words, think about not only their thinking, but thinking about what they're learning, and to think about it really critically. I think that the students here will know that I've said this many, many times. Critical thinking for me is really important, that I provide an environment for that, so that we can look at different options and different solutions to some of these problems. And when it comes to evaluation, because after all, this is a course, and we need to assess, it's important that the assessments that we use and the assignments that I ask students to engage with are both meaningful and constructive. In other words, that they help integrate learning in a really practical sense, and that students can then take this learning into the workplace to sort of test it out and experience it.
Thank you, Milton. And just building on that, I think I'm just going to go backwards this way. I'm going to start with Alyssa this time, and just ask Alyssa, just thinking about the course. So let's take a look at strategic planning, and for tourism and hospitality. What would you say really stuck with you or resonated the most about that course that you took with Milton? And any comments at all? Just interested in your thoughts there.
Yeah, so what stood out to me for the course, and I swear I'm not just saying this, but Milton as a prof, it really did stand out. I believe that the instructor can really make or break the course, and his commitment and dedication to the students did not go unnoticed at all. He really did promote that reflection, and his feedback was always very well put and impactful for me. And so he really made the content, I should say, come to life. And, even with that, he was also extremely supportive and very engaging and really engaged in the material himself, which just encouraged me as a learner to put that much more effort into it. And so that's what really stood out to me. And he has some really great stories too, which really made the content come to life as well.
Thank you very much, Alyssa. And Mridul, just over to you. Similar question, but phrased a little differently. Why should someone take this course?
The primary reason for me was that it had a lot of things related to international business and hospitality and hotels, which is something that I was particularly interested in. Apart from that, Milton also, as Alyssa pointed out, that we had a lot of interesting discussions, and more than understanding what strategic planning is all about, he also taught us about how to do it right, like in an ethical way. As we are moving towards, the future, everyone has been focusing upon the service. However, a very few brands focus upon ethics and morals. And millennials and Gen Z are, I think, since I'm a part of the millennial generation myself, I think we try to associate ourselves with brands who believe in doing something right. So ethically, how to plan yourself and how to make sure that your brand gets that extra edge. We had discussions around that, and I learned a lot. So that is something, if just in case for the future generation, that is something which really made me hook onto.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Mridul. And over to you, Maud. What helped you? What helped you learn in this course? What did you find helped your learning?
What I found very interesting in this course was the design of the course. First of all, sometimes discussions in a class can be boring, but I was thinking about the discussions that we used to have in this class. It was very amazing. I mean, like it was, there was a goal behind it because there was questions that made you think about something. And with the rich experience that Dr. Milton has in hotel industry, which is my favorite field, it gives you like the energy to ask a lot of questions because you will get a lot of nice information that you can use throughout your career. And also, well, with every question there was a goal behind it. He wanted us to get to a point and decide about something. And also, well, the readings were also useful, and as some of them were study cases that were like never boring, because sometimes you find readings that are not that interesting for you. But I remember even one of the hotel chains in China, I still remember that case. That was an amazing, the readings were amazing as well. So these two were the highlight of the course for me: the discussions, the design of the course, and also the readings.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Maud. So I'm looking at the time. Lovely conversation. I really do appreciate it. I just thought it'd be good to see if anyone on the call, anyone listening in, has any specific questions you'd like to ask of of Dr. Milton or Maud, Mridul, or Alyssa. Or you can certainly take the mic and ask a question as well. Please do if you have something you'd like to ask. I would just like to say, while we're just waiting to see if there's any questions, the goal here, everyone, is to really give you a chance to talk to instructors, talk to students, and to really have that experience. I would like to thank our guests, because I actually asked them quite short notice and they jumped in and said, yes, we would like to do that. And I appreciate that so very much. And I hope to those of you listening, this is just a very spontaneous, conversation, right? And I think that's what's lovely about it, because, that word authentic, I mean, this is what this is. Like, this is, I feel like I could call a number of students and they would jump at doing this tomorrow as well, or the next day, and that to me, it speaks, that speaks to this program. And a lot of it too is the commitment of the students that come to the program. I mean, I really want to acknowledge the incredible commitment of the students that come here, and the commitment of the students that have just started yesterday as well, and have started over the last 18 months through this COVID period. It's been a significant achievement to study and to start a program during this period, or to complete a program. Anyway, I just want to recognize that, and to say to those of you who are interested in perhaps joining us, we're still not out of this COVID situation. And what I've seen is like the tremendous strength and perseverance and can-do attitude of everyone that has continued to study or continued to move and start a program in another country through all of this. And I just want to acknowledge everybody for that tremendous effort. So I'm looking here. There's a few questions, I think. Do you think it's possible to successfully complete the MA while working full time? So I'll just open that up to our student guests. Any comments on that question? Is it possible to work and study full time, or how did you balance the two, or are you balancing the two?
I'd like to take this question if possible, Rebecca.
Yes, thank you. Over to you.
So for international students, which I'm from India, I think it's only authorized by the IRCC for us to work for 20 hours a week. To be honest, a lot of people have problems managing their finances, but I never had that. That's probably because, I made certain contacts, which again, there's an RRU group where you can basically plug in and make a lot of contacts with your batchmates and find out accommodations for yourself. I'm not sure. I'm almost certain that if you're a Canadian citizen already, then you can work full time. But for international students from irrespective of your country, you can only work for 20 hours a week, unless you're doing your internship. That is when you can work for 40 hours, which is full time.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very helpful. So it really does depend, it's different for the hours allowed for different students, vary if you're an international student. Just before we wrap up, any other comments about that? Anyone want to jump in on the balance of work and studying? Okay. All right. So I would say it's a very individual decision, and some students, I mean, a lot of students come here and they start the programs first, right? Get into the courses and then kind of make that decision. So I would say, focus on your studies first, and then see what you might be able to take on in addition. And I think that would be my guidance. take it slowly. So just looking at the time, everyone, I'm going to pass it back over to Christy, because we're going to talk about admission requirements and how to apply. And I know that many of you have questions about that. And I'd like to, again, thank our guests very much for your time. It was just really lovely to reconnect with you all today. Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca. I think we do have somebody who would like to use his microphone to ask a question as well. So perhaps maybe I think we have time to fit in just his question as well before I jump into the application details.
Lovely.
So I think it's Ali Reza.
Yes,
Hi, Ali Reza.
Do
Go
you hear
ahead.
me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hello everyone.
Hello.
I'm really happy that I canceled my class just to participate in this meeting. You know, when it comes to tourism, everyone speaks about railroads, and we are quite lucky that we are here. Okay, you know, I had lots of questions, but throughout the webinar, okay, I got my answer for most of the questions. You know, I was worried about the supervisors. Recently, two of my friends rejected from Canada because they didn't have any access to their supervisors. Okay, I think we have more than 10 pictures here that they are teaching in railroads, and I think they are all supervisors, yes?
So just clarifying, when you say we use the term supervisor if you are, say you're doing your thesis or your major research project, you would have a faculty advisor.
You know, we are most of the students are trying to get acceptance in Canadian universities.
Right.
It is said that if you are not connected to your supervisors, okay, your application might be rejected if you cannot speak to your supervisors while you are being accepted. Can we have access to our supervisors, or automatically we are going to choose a supervisor for us?
Can you speak to that, Christy? I'm not sure about the supervisor piece there.
To be honest, I might defer to enrollment if they know the answer in the chat, just because I'm to my knowledge, I don't know that you need to have a supervisor lined up at the outset of the application, but I'm not sure about like different visa requirements or if there's anything.
Okay, maybe it is for Master of Science. It is Master of Art and it is not needy. Yes? Can it be the case?
Yeah. I haven't heard of you know, you having to designate a supervisor that's from the faculty team, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Yes, happy for us. If it is not needed, it is okay.
Yeah, I don't believe it is. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm happy to
okay.
jump in here. Hi there. Hi, everyone. My name's Kelsey. I work at Royal Rose as a international enrollment advisor, as well as a certified immigration advisor. And just to speak to your question, yeah, you're not required to have a supervisor or sponsor for the purpose of the study permit application. So that's not a requirement by Immigration Canada for applying for the initial study permit. And Alreza, I think we've chatted before, and I believe you have a appointment following this session. So Alana and I can speak to that a little bit more in detail as well.
Very nice. Yes, we have.
Okay.
Many thanks indeed.
You're very welcome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, best of luck with your application and everything going forward. And thanks so much, Kelsey, for jumping in on that as well. And Rebecca, unless there's anything else you'd like to add, I can jump into the application details next, because I see there was a few questions on that piece as well.
That's great. Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Perfect. And yeah, again, thank you so much to all of our guests for joining today. So Milton, Alyssa, Maud, and Mridul, it was really, really amazing to hear your perspectives and to get some of your feedback on your experiences and advice for future students. It's really amazing to have you here.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. All the best with the rest of your studies. And thank you again, Milton.
Thanks. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for having us. It was great to meet you here. Hope to see you soon on campus.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Alrighty. So without further ado, just getting my screen a little bit set up here, but I'm going to dig into the application details a little bit more. So first we have standard admissions, and then I will get into what our flexible admissions looks like afterwards. So for our standard admissions, that would look like the completion of a 4-year or comparable undergraduate degree in a related field with a minimum GPA of a B from a recognized post-secondary institution. And with that, at least 2 years of full-time work experience within the tourism or hospitality industry. And then applicants who meet the degree requirements, but not the GPA requirements, will normally be required to take an academic writing and critical thinking course. And we hear from many students, we get feedback that this course is a great one to take either way. If it's been a number of years since you've been out of school or things like that, it really does set you up well to get your head back into the academic space for any writing, referencing, researching, things like that. It's a very handy course to take. So if you aren't sure if you meet the criteria from that last slide, we also do have a flexible admissions process. So this could be for applicants with no post-secondary education, and you would normally require a minimum of 7 years of progressive work experience, 3 years of which would be in a leadership role. And then applicants who have completed some post-secondary education, but who do not meet our 4-year degree requirements will be adjudicated on a case-by-case basis, with greater emphasis placed on the quality and years of work experience. So yeah, if you are unsure about what this could look like for you, we welcome you to reach out to our enrollment team, and I'll have their contact information a few slides over. But don't count yourself out if you're worried you don't have the right credentials or anything. Definitely have a conversation with us, and we are really proud of this flexible admissions model that we are able to offer too. So how to apply? To start off the process, there's a fee of $126.28. And then there is some supporting documents that you will need to submit along with your application. So the first one there is your official transcripts from whichever institutions you've previously attended. So those do need to arrive to us sealed. So if you are curious about what your grades were in a previous degree that you've gotten, for instance, we always like to say that it's best to get 1 copy sent to yourself if you want to take a peek, and then 1 copy sent to us because it needs to arrive sealed. And with COVID-19 and such, there are some institutions that are doing emailed official transcripts as well, and we can accept those too. So the next one on here is a detailed resume. This can be quite a bit lengthier than your typical job application resume, for example. It can be as lengthy as you need to really convey everything that would speak to your eligibility for the program. So obviously educational background and work experience, but things like volunteer experience, maybe conferences or different things that you've volunteered for, different projects that you've been a part of, courses you've taken, anything that would really let us know holistically who you are. This is a great place to add those details in there. And then with that comes the personal statement. So that is a 1-page document that really complements the resume and really lays out why you want to take the program. It speaks to your eligibility a little bit more again, and really allows us to get to know you and if you would be a good fit for the program. Especially this will be important if you are one of the flexible admissions candidates, because this really helps us to learn more about your background and things like that, and whether this would be the right program for you. So this is a great and kind of important document for the application for sure. It can seem a little bit daunting, but from personal experience, I can say that it's really, once you get into it and you really put all of your thoughts down onto paper, it is really actually a rewarding document to do, because you're reaffirming for yourself why you want to take this program and really dive back into what can be a big undertaking. So it's really nice to set off on the right foot when you're starting a program like this. And then the last one here is the 2 letters of reference. So it's ideal to have one of those come from an educational reference and one of them come from a professional background. So we get a little bit of a mix, but if it's been, say, a very long time since you've been out of school or anything like that, there is some flexibility there on where your references come from, as long as it's not just from a friend or a cousin or things like that, somebody who can kind of speak to the work you've done or, you know, your performance in the classroom and things like that. So some key dates that you may want to mark on your calendar. So we have a few intakes coming up. So the next one for on campus is going to be December 1st, 2021. And the application deadline for that is going to be October 1st, 2021. And then if you're looking a little bit further down the road, we have another intake date on April 11th, 2022, with the application deadline on February 9th, 2022. So if you are hoping to take this program soon, it's best to get your application in as soon as possible, because that deadline is coming up very quickly. But if you are applying as an international student, it is good to note that there can be a bit more of a lead time that you'll want to get your application submitted, because you may need to get things in order for the visa and everything like that to be able to study on campus. But Kelsey, if possible, I'm wondering if you could maybe pop into the chat box the best amount of lead time for if you'd be applying as an international student to get your application in. I'm just forgetting at the moment what would be the ideal amount, but yeah, really the sooner the better. If you are wanting to take this program, it is great to start thinking about it. And as well, we do assess applications on a rolling admissions sort of basis. So that means that we don't wait until the application deadline to assess everybody's applications and let you know if you're accepted into the program. We can tell you a lot sooner than that if you apply, say, months in advance. So the sooner that you apply, the sooner that you can start preparing for what going back to school will look like for you and getting all those pieces in order to really set yourself up well to take the program. And I'm just going to take a look at the chat box here to make sure I'm not missing any questions. Wonderful. I see Rhonda's popping a lot of extremely helpful links in the chat box. And then, so from Kelsey, we recommend applicants submit their complete application 6 months before the program start date to ensure that you have enough time for the study permit. Thank you so much. We do have a question about the hybrid intake, or we call it the blended intake. Rebecca, I'm not sure if you want to just speak to that piece briefly.
I think the blended intake is open at present. And it's on the website. So that one has been running every 2 years. That's why I'm hesitant. I think it's showing, I think, for 2022.
I know we have the information on the website, but we may not actually have a date quite yet for the next date.
Right. So what I would say with that is that, well, the first piece is that we're looking at possibly a fully online course, so online program. So I would say if you're interested in a fully online or a blended, so mainly online but with the residencies, do stay tuned with our website and stay in touch with admissions, because that might adjust slightly in the next little while. So I'd rather just say, you know, I'd rather give that message. Just keep checking in on that. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, I wanted to just make sure we're addressing that question for folks who are curious about that piece. But yeah, and you are welcome as well. We can add you to our system as well. So if you want to receive like regular updates from our enrollment team about the program and things like that, or to get invitations to future webinars like this, you're welcome to let us know if you'd like to sign up for that, just so we can keep you in the loop and you're not having to kind of check back on the website. But yes, so just to finish up, I'm recognizing the time. We've hit 9 a.m. already, but I have a few more slides just to close out. The next one here is just an important notice about financial aid. This is going to be something that you'll want to start thinking about even before you apply for the program. And we have an amazing financial aid team who can support you through all of that. And their contact information is listed here. I use them as a resource when I applied for my program at Royal Roads, and they were amazing to work with. They helped me through the student loan process and things like that, and identifying awards and bursaries and things like that I'd be eligible for. So it's definitely something that you want to look into, especially since we have a bit of a smaller student body at Royal Roads than some of the larger institutions. So that means that you can have a pretty good chance at getting some of these funding opportunities. So definitely don't count yourself out from that. And if you'd like to get in touch, we've been mentioning our amazing enrollment team throughout the whole presentation. Here is their contact information. A big thank you to Rhonda and Kelsey for helping us so much in the chat box today. They are two examples of the amazing team that you have at your disposal to answer any questions that come up along the way. Rhonda also popped into the chat box the link that you can use if you want to request more information or get updates on the program and things like that. So if you just fill out your details there, then we'll ensure that you can stay in the loop with any changes that happen to the programs and things like that. And with that, we are ready to wrap up our presentation today, but I just want to give another thank you to all the guests that joined us, as well as all the help behind the scenes from both Rhonda and Kelsey, as well from AK and Amara. It really does take a village to put on these webinars, so really grateful for all of the support we have today, and Rebecca as well for moderating that amazing conversation and providing all of the details about the MATM program. And then finally, to everybody who joined us today, thank you so much, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any other questions that come up. And with that, Rebecca, is there any final words you want to share with everyone before we close out the webinar for today?
I'd just like to say thank you for considering Royal Roads, and you know, it's our pleasure to provide you with more information to help you with your decision making, and we wish you all the best in, you know, whatever decision you make and whatever journey you take. It'll be a good one, I'm sure. And you know, yeah, thank you for your interest in Royal Roads University.
Perfect. All righty. Thanks so much, everyone. And we hope you have an amazing rest of your days.